I'm making Getting Over It into a Metroidvania, where you upgrade your umbrella to reach the moon. And to get feedback on the game, I gave a few of my friends access. Now this game is nowhere near finished. It has about an hour and a half of content to 100% it. So why do they have over a dozen hours each? Speedrunning. Metroidvania games are all about getting new abilities to be able to access new areas. But they're finishing the game with just the base set of abilities that you start with. So how are they doing it? The truth is, I designed it that way. The first upgrade you get is the hook handle, which allows you to hook onto ledges and vines. Normally, you'd need the hook to get out of the cave where you find it, but if you're skilled enough, you can get out with just wall jumps and floats. The same is true for many other areas of the game, and I want it to be true for the critical path to get to the moon and finish the game. I do, however, want there to be multiple ways to get to the moon. One where you progress through the game normally, get most of the upgrades, and find yourself naturally led towards the end. But there'll be at least one more secret way to get there faster. But with every upgrade you don't find, the final challenge will be much harder. Now, some people dislike when a game is specifically designed for speedrunning. However, I'm making a movement-based platformer, and as someone who has speedrun several platformers, there are 5 factors that I believe makes them enjoyable to speedrun. This video will go over how I've applied them to my game, as well as my friends' race to sub 5 minutes, the bugs and unexpected skips they found, and how these discoveries ended up improving the game for everyone. The first factor is versatile movement. There's no typical jump button in the game, but you do have the ability to poke your umbrella into the ground to push yourself up. You have full 360-degree control over its angle, as well as how far you extend it, meaning it's probably one of the more versatile jumps in a game. But that's not all. You can also use it to jump off of walls to gain height, or even ceilings to fall faster. The second ability is to open the umbrella, which allows you to float long distances, but it also gives you more control over your air movement, meaning you can perform jumps like this. And this. Okay, pretend you didn't see that one. You can also aim your canopy down to slide along the ground like a spinning top, and gain speed faster than moving along with just your tracks. And that's the base moveset. The hook handle unlocks a whole new set of possibilities. The most obvious use is to hook onto ledges, and from those ledges, you can choose to rotate up for more control, or launch yourself into the air with a ledge jump. If you're skilled, you can even control the angle of the ledge jump. But the real speedrun tech comes from hooking the ground you're standing on. It gives you a little boost in that direction. Faster than moving on your tracks, right? But you can also combo into your other abilities. If you poke during the speed boost, you'll get a massive long jump. And if you open your canopy, you'll instantly be at a fast sliding speed. You can then combo this into a poke to get the same long jump. This isn't even the final movement ability you unlock, but since you unlock the hook near the very start of the game, surely those extra movement options could help you finish the game faster, even if you had to go a bit out of your way to get it. Which leads me to the next factor, routing. In Metroidvania games, deciding which abilities to get in which order can quickly balloon into exponential possibilities, especially in 100% runs. But we'll focus on any percent for now, since my friends were hell-bent on beating the game without any upgrades. I'll be cutting some parts out of the speedruns that I show to not spoil too much, and a lot of what I do show outside of the home area is very unfinished. But there is a new, more polished area that I want to show off. The volcano. What seems like a regular checkpoint actually starts a volcanic eruption. You're trapped inside as the lava chases you up the winding paths until you reach the top, where you'll have to do a series of precise wall jumps to escape. There's also an optional collectible a little bit out of your way. So if you choose to collect it, you'll have less time to attempt the final jumps. Anyway, back to routing. The first major routing question, is it faster to go left or right? Since the world is a looping circle, you can traverse the planet in either direction. The first timed run was from Ricky Clean. He decided to start by going right and finished with a time of just over 30 minutes. He eventually got that time down to 11 minutes and 42 seconds in the same night. The next day, he realized it was actually faster to go to the left through the hidden dark cave. And using this new route, on top of some cleaner gameplay, was able to take the record down to under 6 minutes. But on the same day, another runner was gunning for the record. Asa had some more consistent strategies in the endgame, and was able to take the record down to 5 minutes and 26 seconds. And with that, the race to sub 5 minutes was on. Both runners were gunning for it on the same night, but after many attempts, nobody would get a 4-minute time that night. Because Ricky got a sub 4.
Let's go. Huge. Never saw a sub 5, never will.
And he would then lower it down to a 3:51. But he wasn't done yet. He had a trump card, which leads into the next factor: skips. Although the game is full of intentional skips, there will always be unintended skips, especially in such a physics-based game. This included a couple of ways to hook onto ledges without the hook handle, allowing runners to complete areas hookless that I didn't even design to be done without the hook. But there's a second type of skip that comes from the level design. After getting sub 4 minutes, Ricky discovered a skip near the end. I placed a bunch of water to block the exit to this area. The robot can only survive in water for so long, but if you have the hook handle, you have just enough time to get through the water. First, you need height to get enough downward speed from gravity. The moment you touch the ground, you hook into a slide to get just enough speed to clear this part into a final jump. This skipped most of the final area, which meant that getting the hook handle was now faster than getting no upgrades. Now that the route involved getting the hook, it was a little faster to go to the right side around the planet. And with the extra movement options the hook provided, Ricky got the run all the way down to 2 minutes and 22 seconds. But he could have gotten that time in fewer attempts if I just worked a little more on the next factor: consistency. I'm not just talking about reducing RNG here. If you do the same inputs, you should get the same result. But a lot of the time, while doing the water skip, there was a bug where Ricky would get this 360 motion when he opened the umbrella.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, man.
And if this happened, the run was dead, and it was kind of my fault. The game was littered with these inconsistencies, and boy, having people speedrun the game was super valuable to find them and a great motivator to fix them. I'll mention 3 examples. There were many issues with checkpoints. They would often be finicky to trigger, and you could sometimes glitch the umbrella inside of them. Now they're so consistent that they act kind of like a magnet. Another more niche issue is if you held a movement direction while the gravity changed, your movement would stay reversed, meaning you would start traveling to the right if you were holding left, until you let go and started holding left again. Probably wouldn't have found that one without speedrunners trying to be optimal. Lastly, in low gravity situations, you would often bounce on the floor, meaning you couldn't hook the ground to gain speed, since your body needs to be grounded for that. So I softened the suspension on the wheels. Fixing these idiosyncrasies helped to make a more polished movement system, which trickles down to casual players too. But just because players can perform inputs consistently, doesn't make them easy, leading to the 5th factor: mastery. The best speedrun games have a high skill ceiling, a huge disparity between the time of a casual playthrough and that of a world record. Ricky's time went from 30 minutes down to just 2. You can attribute some of that to the routing, but it also has a lot to do with skill. It really is mesmerizing watching just how good Ricky got at this game. And even in his 2-minute record, there are a bunch of mistakes. The ceiling has not been reached. As I fill out the game's map, strategies will change, and when the game releases, I'm excited to see who the next record holder could be. If you want to be notified when the game releases, be sure to add it to your Steam wishlist. And if you can't wait that long, I'm planning on releasing a demo first, which I'll talk about in the next devlog. So subscribe if you want to see that. Also, my previous game, Sumorbit, just released on Xbox. I always saw it as a console game, so it's cool to see that come to fruition, even if it's just on one console for now.